Chapter 1. Your husband fucked my girlfriend. I was in the audience, and behind him was the flashing spotlight, which was dazzling. For the first time, I took a breath for his deep facial features. The most pleasurable moments of my life were concentrated in the moment he entered me, and I longed to hear him say he loved me. I don't want morality or rationality anymore. I just want to be by your side. Chu runs. On the shore of the gurgling water, a man's angry voice sounded. He held a women's mobile phone and read the contents of the notepad through gritted teeth. Dee tied her hands behind her back and listened quietly. The secret conflict between her and Chu Run's gradually surfaced through every declaration of love made by his mistress. The man pushed her head down hard with his hands, causing a slight chill on the tip of her nose, and then a suffocating stream of water filled her face. She struggled hard, but the man's grip loosened and the air quickly returned to his lungs, but he stumbled to the ground due to the force. Are you deaf? Didn't you hear the love my woman wrote to your husband? The man's face was ferocious, glowing green under the weak streetlight. The left side of Diu's face hurt, and the mobile phone that hid her face rolled to her feet. She lowered her head and turned to the screensaver page on her phone, which was a group photo. The background is the dim lights of the hotel. A woman with a beautiful and soft face is leaning on the man's arms, her slightly raised eyebrows smiling like a crescent moon. Their fingers were clasped together, and the man looked at her with fondness in his eyes. There were kiss marks of varying depths on her exposed neck, which were fragrant and sultry. Her eyes flashed, then disappeared into the depths again. What the hell are you talking about? Your husband dragged my woman to bed. The man said in a rough voice. Don't you woman enjoy it? Dee whispered a few words. The man was stunned for a moment and was blocked by her, unable to speak. Isn't it a bit ridiculous if you come to me to ask for an explanation? Your woman climbed into my husband's bed using her secret position. Logically speaking, I am also a victim. Of course, if you come here to seek comfort, I'm sorry, I don't have time. You, the man said in disbelief. Stop pretending. Don't you mind at all? Dee glanced at the man surrounded by anger. Chu Run's tidbits occupy the front page of Jinan City every day. Do you mind if I come over? I would like to remind you that with his current status, he cannot tolerate other people's provocations against him, let alone you tied up his wife. If you have the guts to hit him in the face, you must be prepared to suffer revenge. She said it casually, but it made the man break into a sweat. Just as the man was about to speak, the cell phone in his bag rang loudly, which was particularly harsh in the dark night. He connected to the video call, and in a dilapidated warehouse, the cry of a middle-aged woman suddenly came. Xiaobo, Mom is so scared. Come here and save me. I don't want to die. Xiaobo suddenly became confused. What are you doing? Let my mother go. You kidnapped my wife, so naturally I have to invite your mother over as a guest. It's indecent to come and go without going back and forth. Don't you think so, Xiaobo? The rich voice came slowly, intertwined with the middle-aged woman's cry, but it was surprisingly clear and even pleasant to the ears. Xiaobo's eyes flashed with fear. Chu Run's, how dare you do this to me? In the picture, Chu Run's legs with perfect lines are crossed, and he is sitting on the sofa. He puts his slender thumbs on his chin and exhales the smoke happily. His lowered eyes hide the light in them. The nobility and coldness born from the inside pour out from his behavior and gestures. Xiaobo, are you standing up for that woman? She's not worth it. Please ask them to let me go. Xiaobo, I heard that your mother has a heart disease. What would happen if she was continuously frightened and failed to receive timely treatment? Chu Run's deep, temperatureless eyes lifted slightly, and time seemed to stand still at this moment. Xiaobo fell unsteadily to the ground, blue and white rushed to his cheeks. Chu Run's put out the cigarette in his hand. The smile on his lips remained unchanged, and his eyes were deep and sharp. You'd better make sure my wife is unharmed, otherwise you'll have to wait until you get home to fulfill your filial piety. Chu runs. You are not a fucking human being at all. You are a complete lunatic. But the call was disconnected, and there was a hollow, busy signal on the phone. Xiaobo tremblingly untied the rope from Diyu's hand and rolled away from there. Diyu looked at his walking figure, turned around, and walked towards the exit of the river bank, blending her body into the darkness. Diyu was not familiar with the area around the river bank. Judging from the deserted streets, it was probably in the suburbs. She walked on the road for nearly half an hour, and there was not a single car. The dark night came with thick fog, and the fine water vapor in the air wet the ground. She gathered up her torn coat, and when she heard the sound of wheels scraping the ground, she took a step across the road, spreading her fingers to remind people to stop. Squeak. The harsh sound of braking came through the air, and Diyu looked dull, as if the person only 10 centimeters away from the car at this moment was not her. She quickly got into the car and placed a red Mao Zedong card on the car frame. Hello, please take me to IKEA Villa. The driver didn't even glance at the red coin, but turned to look at her. The lights in the car were dim, and his face was shrouded in shadows and blurred, except for his eyes, which were as black as agate. It's very dangerous to block a car like this. Diyu twitched the corner of her mouth forcefully. Am I safe and sound now? The driver's bony index finger tapped lightly on the steering wheel, and he frowned. I mean, your reckless behavior will push me into a dangerous situation. I know it's very late now, Diyu said calmly and took out 2 red coins from his wallet. This money is enough to run around Jinan City. Can you drive now? You seem to think it's okay to just get into a strange man's car. Diyu Shumei frowned slightly. In that case, why did you stop the car just now? She opened the car door and was about to get out. A sideways arm blocked her way, and the car door closed again, cutting off the cold air outside. You seem to have some misunderstandings about me. The man's voice was low, with a slight smile. The car was speeding down the road. Thank you. After a while, Diyu's dry voice sounded. No need. The man raised his chin. Please put that in my wallet. He pointed to the red coin that Diyu placed on the bicycle frame. Diyu's fingertips trembled, feeling unwilling to do so, but she still followed the instructions. The man saw through her thoughts and smiled slightly. You won't lose any money to pay for the gas and cleaning fees. Diyu followed his gaze and discovered that there was a pool of water stains on the seat under her, and water droplets kept sliding down her hair. Maybe. The man looked at her for a few times. His hair was messy, and there were 2 weeds on it. Why are you? Diyu was startled and looked at his face in the rear-view mirror. Below him, his wrist was red and bleeding from the rope, and the nail of his right thumb was also broken off. She was silent, answering with this quiet gaze. The man raised his eyelids. There are towels and iodine in the storage compartment. Need not. The man saw through her tiredness and said after a moment, If you're tired, take a nap first. It's still far away anyway. Diyu really raised her hands to cover her eyes and breathed shallowly. Do you always give trust to strange men? The man smiled lightly. I have nothing to lose. As he said that, Diyu leaned on the car seat with his neck crooked and put his cold hands into his sleeves, tightening them slowly. Night was falling, rain was falling outside the window, and rhythmic knocking sounded at the door. She dropped the TV remote control and opened the door. There was a familiar figure standing at the entrance, with an angular face looming. The half of the line facing the house was clear and handsome, but the eyebrows were shrouded in the rain and blurred, making people feel like they were having a long-lasting dream. She stood by the door, with surprise on her face that she couldn't hide in time. He did not hold an umbrella. There were traces of raindrops on his camel coat, and his feet were stained with mud. The 2 of them were silent. The world outside the door was gray. The night was pressing down quietly, and the rain was falling heavily, making a crackling sound on the windowsill. Looking at his right hand that was tightly wrapped in gauze, she asked softly, Have you thought everything through? Yes. Chu Runs nodded in agreement. He suddenly approached her, his left hand resting on the door frame, and his tall body enveloped her whole body. I want to marry you. Your family and past are not your choice. All this has nothing to do with you. Miss, we're at IKEA Villa. The man's voice pulled her out of her sleep. Sat up straight and looked forward with wide eyes. After a moment, he opened the car door and got out. Thank you. The laughter of young men and women could be heard in the ears, and a couple was kissing under the neon lights not far away. The city was particularly lively at night. Subconsciously hugged her arms. The cold wind hurt her face, and even her breathing was white. The huge movie poster above her head reminded her that today was February 14th, the day when Shinrin appeared collectively. Hey, didn't you say you can book tickets online? Why is it full? I placed an order, but there was insufficient balance in my card to pay. I originally wanted to buy it here directly, but I didn't expect there would be so many people in the cinema. How about we try somewhere else? Next to it, a man and a woman were quarreling. Paused, turned back, took out 2 movie tickets from his pocket, walked up to them, and handed them over. The sudden appearance of movie tickets and a gentle woman in front of them made a young man and woman unable to react. Said, I don't need it anymore, just take it and wish you a happy holiday. The boy smiled happily, slightly embarrassed. Aren't you on a date with your boyfriend? Smiled lightly. He is very busy now. With that said, without waiting for their response, she turned around and walked towards the IKEA Villa. The man in the car followed Diyu's figure with his dark eyes until he disappeared at the gate of the community. He put the gear in gear and withdrew his thoughtful gaze. The phone buzzed in the storage compartment. The man turned on the interior lights and reached for the locker, only to find something extra on the car seat. A work permit. I say third brother, third master, third grandpa. Just show your kindness and return the car to me. He raised his eyebrows and listened to the resentful voice on the other end of the phone, but his eyes never left the work permit. Chapter 2. What do you think I am? The performance of the car is good. You can pick it up from the underground parking lot of the Palace of Death tomorrow. Can it be wrong? The Bugatti Grenadier is limited edition and will not enter the market. It only accepts private customization. The bill was sent home. My grandfather was so angry that he almost broke my legs. Because of this, I didn't dare to go back for 3 days. The man flipped through the work permit in his hand casually. The other person didn't wait for a reply and changed the subject. Third brother, you haven't been back for several years. Tonight, my brother opened a table at the Tang banquet to welcome you. Look. You guys are playing. The company has other things to do. The man said unwillingly, what can you do when you just come back and find excuses to fool us? Third brother, you have been busy working all day and can't even relax. Isn't it interesting? The man chuckled. Don't make excuses for your cynicism. The interface on the other end of the phone was very fast. Third brother, I met a doctor 2 days ago. He said that if a man works overtime day and night and stays up late, it is most harmful to the kidneys. There are very few men in the Shin family. Is this okay with you? The man nodded and said seriously, drinking alcohol and playing with women will make you more likely to be infertile, and you may also get sick. The other person paused. Okay, I can't defeat you. Remember to check regularly. The man added before the other party hung up the phone. Putting away his mobile phone, the man looked at the work permit carefully. The woman in the red ID photo was sitting next to him just now. In the photo, her eyebrows are slightly green, and there is a slight smile on her lips. She is smart and lively, different from a shrewd and distant person she is today. The woman's name lingered softly between the man's thin lips. He stuffed his work ID card into the inner layer of his wallet, and the upshifted car sped down the road. The man's eyebrows were relaxed, and he was in a very happy mood. IKEA Villa is located in the center of the city. A cluster of well-structured European-style villas stands among lush trees. The ground is very damp and glows faintly under the orange streetlights. Do you open the door for a moment? For a moment, She wanted to escape from this place, even if it meant being exposed on the street. The nanny who went out to take out the trash spotted her with keen eyes. "Madam, you are back." With that said, he opened the door. Diyu twitched the corner of her mouth. "Well, you haven't gone home?" The nanny is a rural woman in her early 30s. She has 2 children at home. She agreed on the last rest day to move her vacation to today. She rubbed her hands and smiled shyly. "The child's father will go home tomorrow, and I won't leave until dawn." Diyu nodded, as if something suddenly occurred to her. She exclaimed, "Madam, sir, he's back." Diyu's expression was as usual, but her hand holding the cotton mop was stagnant, and she quickly changed her shoes. "Yeah," she said, pushing back her hair that was not yet dry, with a calm expression. In the living room, the hourly chime sounded. On the large coffee table, a bouquet of fiery red roses caught her eye. Diyu stopped as he passed by, looking at the delicate flowers, wondering how many women would receive the same gift tonight. "What? You're surprised?" Chu Runs appeared behind her at some point. He was wearing a white round neck sweater and a dark blue thin coat. His slender legs were wrapped in khaki casual pants. He was leaning on a column, casually and lazily. If he hadn't been wearing it, Diyu would have almost forgotten that she had ever bought such a set of clothes. Time has been particularly kind to Chu Runs. Except for the change in temperament, his appearance remains the same as 7 years ago. Thick sword-like and energetic eyebrows, a straight and stiff nose, and a clear-cut face with a sense of alienation. At this moment, his lips were pursed tightly, and a chill came over him. He has a faint smell of tobacco, mixed with a light and heavy men's perfume, and he is naturally noble and handsome. Diyu suddenly understood why so many women would climb into his bed at the risk of being scolded. Not to mention the impressive wealth behind him. This handsome face and impeccably proportioned figure alone are enough to attract the attention of all women. Time flies and they live under the same roof, but he is no longer him, the man who would bear the robber's knife for her. The relationship between you and me 7 years ago seemed like a dream, and we woke up before we had time to reflect on it. "Are you waiting for me?" Diyu turned back and stared at him with her black eyes. Chu Runs stretched out his hand and slowly approached her. Finally, he walked around her and grabbed a document on the table. "The copywriting of the South District project is exactly the same as the one in Singapore last time. Don't you have any new ideas?" Diyu was stunned for a moment, and the disdain in her eyes quickly faded away. She looked away, bent down, and poured a glass of boiling water. "Time is too tight. This is just for temporary use to deal with clients. The new project has been sent to your mailbox this morning." After hearing this, Chu Runs raised his eyebrows slightly. "I will go out today and see you tomorrow." Diyu sipped her saliva and didn't answer. Chu Runs put down the documents and stood beside her for a while before grabbing the coat on the shelf, apparently ready to go out. When Diyu was about to grab the doorknob, he suddenly stepped forward and reached out to cover his. "It's late at night. Do you still want to go out?" His shapely eyebrows frowned, and the lines of his thin lips became straighter. "It's very late. You should go to bed early." Diyu ignored his impatience, her eyes burning. "It's very late. So why don't you rest? But are you in a hurry to go out?" Chu Runs turned the back of his hand and pulled away from her touch. "I was shocked today. I promise there won't be a second time." He pointed out that Shabo caught her. Diyu's right hand slipped down, and the huge, shining diamond ring accidentally left a white mark on the door frame. Chu Runs, "I really want to ask you, what is your purpose of marrying me?" With a heavy gaze, he passed her and walked straight towards the entrance. Diyu suddenly clenched her hands and shouted behind him, "It's been 7 years. What do you think I am?" Chu Runs paused while changing his shoes, and their conversation was interrupted by the ringing of his cell phone. He didn't look back and answered the phone the moment he pushed the door open. through the door swinging back and forth, you saw that the indifference on his face was replaced by gentleness. A smile was hidden on his lips, and a relaxed and joyful voice came clearly. It seems that you didn't work hard enough last night, so you dare to be so presumptuous today. Dee leaned against the cold wall, and the entire villa was enveloped in silence. At some point, some raindrops drifted in with the wind outside the door, and a shishi sounded in her ears. In the early morning, Dee stared at the languid woman in the mirror, applying makeup neatly, and soon returned to her smart and capable look. After looking through the wardrobe, she saw all black and white business attire. She suddenly remembered that she seemed to be only 25 years old. She found a long red and white plaid skirt from the bottom of the cabinet, a gray turtleneck sweater that clung to her body, a slender waist that was manageable, and her hair was casually scattered behind, making her fair face look even smaller. There is a hint of coldness at the end of the slightly upturned peach blossom eyes, which separates the charm from the charm. When Dee went downstairs, there were some microwavable food on the dining table. On the table was a note left by the nanny. Apparently, she couldn't wait to say hello and left. Dee looked at the entrance. The white high-heeled shoes that she had taken off last night were leaning there alone. She walked quietly to the dining room and threw her breakfast into the microwave. I finished my breakfast numbly and then went to work. Dee graduated 7 years ago and started working with Chu Runs at the age of 10. With her outstanding achievements and talents, more than 10 companies extended an olive branch to her at the same time. She chose Chu Runs because he gave her the biggest bargaining chip. Back then, she needed money very much. Chu Runs Real Estate Company also needs an excellent copywriter to promote it to the market. To her, Chu Runs was not only a husband, but also a bull, which allowed her to quickly establish herself and become a rare planner in the real estate industry, well known in the industry. Knock, buckle, buckle. Dee recovered from the sudden knock on the door. Please come in. Director Ju, this is the department performance feedback form for last month. Please take a look. While Dee flipped through the documents, his black eyes casually scanned the female employee's face. The female employee understood and replied, Romy is not feeling well, and the HR department is anxious to get the form. So, she looked away and spoke in a steady voice. The company is not a charity. If all attendance is canceled in the next 3 months, the year-end performance will not be up to standard. But the female employee hesitated and wanted to defend herself. Dee closed the pen cap, said softly and gracefully, It's only been 5 days this month. On the 1st, she sprained her foot and took a day off. On the morning of the 3rd, she was trapped in the apartment elevator and couldn't come to the company. Today, you think my decision is not correct enough. The female employee suddenly reached out to cover her mouth, grabbed the file, and slipped away. Dee stood up, her eyes drifting away through the transparent floor-to-ceiling windows, and did not move for a long time until the phone on the table rang loudly. She glanced at him and quickly answered the call. Xiaomin, Ayu, go and order some mocha. I'll be there soon. Dee sat at the window and placed her order. As soon as she looked up, she saw a beautiful figure rushing towards her. The woman with shoulder-length black hair sat down opposite Dee and raised her hand to wipe the sweat on her forehead. I'm menopausal today, so I have to get off work 2 hours late, and it's hard to find a parking space. Dee raised an eyebrow. You? The woman laughed dryly. Of course, she is the older, unmarried female boss of a beautiful female employee. The waiter brought the coffee, and Dee paused as he brought it to his lips, then looked outside at a bicycle chained to his car.